Well, the U.S. government just slid a piece of paper across the desk, asking for another $200 billion. This request functions as an emergency refill, intended to replace the munitions and equipment consumed in recent weeks of active combat. To understand how you vaporize that kind of capital, you have to look at the machine consuming it. Empires rarely fall because they lose on the battlefield. They collapse from strategic overextension, exhausting their national balance sheet to swat at much cheaper threats. Let's run a rapid audit on the March 2026 operations against Iran. If we unroll the receipt for this specific theater, you'll find that roughly $100 billion evaporated, spent entirely on munitions and active operations. That capital wasn't drawn out over a multi-year campaign. The operational window for that $100 billion was exactly 20 days. Burning $5 billion every 24 hours breaks the math of standard defense appropriations. The issue is the velocity of the spend. To grasp that speed, we need a historical baseline for comparison. Over the course of 4 grinding years, the United States directed $184 billion toward the conflict in Ukraine. Now, pull focus back to the current Middle Eastern theater. This chart plots cumulative spending. On the left, the steady 4-year slope of Ukraine aid. On the right, the Iran operation is a vertical wall. Compressing half a decade of defense spending into less than a month causes traditional logistics frameworks to fail completely. Firepower is a fixed cost. Time has become the most volatile and expensive variable on the board. So, what specific line items allow a military to physically burn $5 billion between sunrise and sunset? First, the loss of 20 MQ-9 Reaper drones forces an immediate $600 million write-off. Add to that the destruction of ground-based missile defense systems. Every time an installation is wiped out, $1 to $2 billion disappears. To see the economic asymmetry at play, look at the adversary's financial ceiling. Iran's entire gross domestic product, the monetary value of all goods and services produced over a full year, is roughly $315 billion. The United States exhausted an amount equal to roughly a third of its target's annual economic output in a mere 3 weeks. This is exactly the trap of asymmetry. Intercepting a $10,000 mass-produced munition with a multi-million-dollar interceptor ensures a mathematical loss on every exchange, even when the defense holds. The fallout from that math doesn't stay confined to a foreign desert. It lands directly on the U.S. domestic economy. This counter tracks the fiscal weight behind every deployment, the national debt, currently at $39 trillion. Factor in this newly requested $200 billion, and the total projected cost for recent operations hits $500 billion, aggressively pushing that counter toward the $40 trillion mark. Control over airspace and territory has taken a backseat to absolute fiscal endurance. Modern adversaries have adapted to the math. They don't have to match American fleets or airframes. They just have to provoke a defensive overreaction that drains the treasury. Can a superpower maintain its global standing when every successful tactical interception results in a massive macroeconomic defeat? Overwhelming military superiority works brilliantly in a vacuum, but on the balance sheet, the country is bleeding. Between the nation with the most advanced weaponry on Earth and the adversary actively degrading its economy, who is actually winning the long game? Let me know your take in the comments.